Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the British Fish production of the Q&A number 128! And you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you! Yeah! I thought that's what we were going to go with.
Anyway, people, let's dive straight into this and let's hope we stay in tune with this.
Yeah, we're the British Fist.
Catch it!
British Fist! The first question is from Hole Brooks, and I nearly botched that name like I botched that intro. That's Bo the Xbox Pro. It even rhymes. Which WWE/TNA guys do you think could most use a total character makeover?
One word. Go! Fuck's sake, his character was up there and also no!
I think the Miz could do with a character makeover.
Back to the heel again?
Back to the heel again, yeah. As for TNA,
all the Ace and Eights members.
Yeah, they could do with a bit of a
character.
Bully Ray right now, I think, go from the Ace and Eights back to how he was before. James Storm needs a character makeover because right now he's just not in it.
James, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah.
Superstar or diva, you would have wished you would have stayed and made a full WWE career. Which superstar or
WWE. So I would say the one I'm going to keep on saying is Lita in the diva aspect. I think she could have done well now.
Yeah, I agree. Probably superstar, someone like a Dista, if he hadn't left because the company was going in a different direction.
Big guy,
he could have been a big star. Yeah. What would WWE have done with Sting if he came over with the ECW, WCW invasion? Would they have him get beaten down every pay-per-view like most of the guys, or would he have gotten a good push? Probably would have got beaten down by most of the guys. But
I was going to say no, because I think he's going to get the same treatment as Hogan, probably. He's going to want to be respected, so he's probably going to want to be at the top of his game. That's how I'd see Sting.
During the invasion storyline, he probably would have been the top guy. So he would have been the leader, probably, of that invasion storyline instead of like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who the fuck knows? Eventually, they would have led to a Sting Undertaker match anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Best, worst managers of all time. Mine are Best, The Brain, worst, almost all Divas managers, except Sensational Sherry and Lita. You forgot to mention Miss Elizabeth.
I'm getting excited because my favourite manager of all time is Eric Bischoff.
My favourite manager of all time is Jim Cornette because he was so damn funny. The worst manager of all time...
Excuse me!
Vicky Guerrero. Even though she is a heat magnet. She is a heat magnet. But yeah, in terms of annoyance. TNA live in 2015. Yes. Of course they're going to be alive in 2015.
At the moment, there was a bit of doubt of their future, but TNA always have a back pocket eventually to decide what they're going to do.
Do you think WWE should ease off of gimmick pay-per-views and do more like Backlash, Armageddon, even King of the Ring? We got 2 words for you. Yes, yes.
Hell yes.
Hell yes, that's a good one. Mr. Fact Stater. Is TNA's roster way too small? They have about 30 wrestlers, some of which aren't on TV much. WCW back in the day had over 100 wrestlers. Yes, but they were a big company. They had a 3-hour show at one point, and they had 2 shows, and they just had more spaces to fill because they were a much bigger company with much bigger stars.
Well, when we first started watching TNA, we said that their roster was too large.
Oh, yeah, it was.
As time went on, the fact that they're slipping up a bit, they're releasing a load. Yes, their roster's getting smaller. Maybe they've still got a bigger roster, just not using their talent. But I think they could do with doing something that actually works.
Yeah, I mean, I think their roster right now is okay. I mean, they had the gut check, and they were just adding way too many people to the roster. They need more knockouts, probably some more tag teams as well. I'd say if you're going to add to the roster, add knockouts and tag teams. The $2.99. Your top 3 Undertaker returns.
Number 1 is the one with Triple H. The one that Triple H returned as well, you know.
For the WrestleMania 27 match. The one where he returned to WrestleMania 20 was a good return.
Did he return for a Rumble?
Didn't he return for that Iron Man match against Rock and Triple H, and he cost Rock the match as and their American badass Undertaker? No one expected that.
I think we'll go with those.
Those 3. They're the 3 I remember anyway. Top 5 favourite heel turns.
Triple H turned Shawn Michaels 2-on-2 DX.
R-Truth's heel turn was pretty good. I remember that. Do you remember when he went absolutely bat crazy on John Morrison?
That was great, and then went with The Miz and brilliant.
The Rock heel turn when he became Hollywood Rock. Remember that? Hulk Hogan turning heel for WCW for the NWO. That was a big heel turn.
I'd say when Kane, even though ended badly. When he returned to go after John Cena, you thought going after Mark Henry, but he went after John Cena.
My least favourite heel turn, Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17.
Horrible, I'd say you could say The Miz because it downgraded him. You could say when Kane turns face, the multiple times he has.
Since you're a Man United fan, what's your top 10 Man United players in the Ferguson years? I'm going to name you my favourite team from the Ferguson years. In goal, Peter Schmeichel. Right back, Gary Neville. Centre back, Jaap Stam. Other centre back, Gary Pallister. Left back has definitely got to go to Dennis Irwin. Right midfield, David Beckham. Central midfielders, Keane and Scholes. Left wing, Giggs. As for the strikers, Eric Cantona and Van Nistelrooy. How's that? Liberty Bell. Now that it is leaked that UT, Undertaker, will possibly face Lesnar at WrestleMania, do you think there should be a stipulation to the match? Will Undertaker win or should they script him to lose? If it is not Lesnar, who would you like it to be? There are so many questions there to answer. We'll just say, should there be a stipulation? I don't think there needs to be.
I think if they
streak is enough.
Plus, if the streak is going to go on for another year, when you go against John Cena, the I Quit match, I don't think doing a stipulation each year is necessary. So for Brock Lesnar, pretty much the two big names, and up there.
If he faces Lesnar, he'll win. If it's not Lesnar, who would you like it to be, John? I'd like it to be John Cena, as I think that would be a big match.
If this was 3 years ago, Wade Barrett.
But it's not. Do you think this would/should be his last WrestleMania where he defends the streak? And what role do you see him playing for the company, if any, once he decides to hang up his boots? WrestleMania 30 would be a good time to go out. I think so, especially if he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. And it could this WrestleMania could be all about a guy like Undertaker.
Well, if it is Lesnar who's in his last one, that's something CM Punk has over John Cena. But to be honest, I really don't see John Cena missing out on the opportunity. I don't.
You mean the people that book him wouldn't want to leave him out on the opportunity? And what role do you see him playing in the company, if any, once he decides to hang up his boots? Probably in a backstage role. Who really knows? I mean, maybe he'll retire and just stay at home with his wife and kid. And but he's already got a role backstage anyway. He's pretty much a locker room leader.
I've already thought of this. I thought of this when I thought he was going to finish with the Triple H one. Right. And it's already backed me up. You've seen Kane in a suit now. I'd say when Taker is finished, he appears at every WrestleMania in a suit, being a spokesman of WrestleManias. In a suit, in a tie and everything.
Super Mark Money. That's definitely. Do you reckon that's Marvelous Mark and an account he made? Who knows? Do you think Daniel Bryan is getting buried, or people are just stupid for believing that his big win is coming? I don't think he's getting buried. I mean, he's being put down to the mid-card because they want to make way for larger-than-life characters. I mean, is his big win coming? Who knows? I mean, WWE, it looked like they were going to give him a big win. They kind of did at SummerSlam, but then they kind of backed off it, and now he's back to the mid-card. May he win the Rumble? I mean, do we really? I mean, fans can believe that he's going to win, but at the same time, do you logically think WWE are ever going to book Daniel Bryan to be the top guy?
Well, the rumours that I've read, and to be honest, I think I could see happening if they rebuild Daniel Bryan, is against Triple H at WrestleMania.
JP Payne, I love this question. Who do you think is better, Rhodes or Ziggler? Rhodes.
Performance, I've always enjoyed Ziggler's. Mic work, Rhodes.
I think Rhodes has the more total package. Cena or Batista? I know you're going to say. I'll say Cena. Punk or Bryan? Punk. Just much better overall. Triple H or Foley? I mean, Triple H is going to be a massive part of the future, but Foley put a lot of people over. That's a very difficult one, including Triple H himself. That's a very difficult one.
I'd say Mick Foley can put his body on the line, but when it comes to like Hell in a Cell, Triple H has always accepted what's coming. But it's torn between those two.
Yeah, it really is. Taker or Rock, both are legends. I mean, I think Taker is a little bit better because of his longevity of his career and the streak. But Rock, again, very, very hard to compare and contrast those two guys.
With me, it is hard, but I've got my answer. Taker, I say he's good with the reliance on backstage, the building of stars and stuff. But The Rock, entertaining. He's there to perform. He was there as a great wrestler. So I'd say The Rock just Tips taken.
He was one of the best natural performers of his time. Taker will be probably one of the best big men of his time. HBK or Stone Cold? I think HBK is a total performer, but Stone Cold was the bigger draw at the time.
I'll go with HBK.
Okay. Lee Blade 09. Chances of a Nexus return in the future? No. Dicko5757, mate. So are you guys ready for the Aussies to take the Ashes from you, mate? Haha, but nah, seriously, you guys cricket fans? Shrimp on the barbie and all that? You cricket fan, AJ? I love me a bit of Ashes cricket, mate.
When it comes to cricket, it was a good excuse to get out of lessons in school. Other than that, not the biggest fan.
I watch the Ashes, but I don't watch any other like kind of county cricket or anything. It's just the Ashes for me. That's real I watch. I'll be looking forward to beating the Aussies again this December. American Alucard, Daniel Bryan's beard versus Mr. Parkin's business sense at WrestleMania 30. Considering the fact that Daniel Bryan needs a trim, I would say I would win.
I'm really expecting for somewhere down the line, instead of doing hair versus hair match, it's going to be beard versus something match just for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, Mr. Parkin's business sense.
So I give it to Mr. Parkins.
Exactly, you have to. The XX Dark Tyranitar XX. Do you think this is a good storyline? If WWE would have done this instead of Big Show cleaning house on Raw. Orton's celebrating Cena's music hits and he's walking out. Triple H turns Orton around and pedigrees him. Cena gets into the ring as Triple H hands in the WWE Championship. Cena cuts a heel promo saying he's the only true face of the WWE. And Triple H and Steph raising his hand as Raw goes off the air. No, and no.
As much as it would make fans happy to see
Cena
turn heel and Orton getting pedigreed because Orton's now the heel. It will turn Triple H face for pedigree and a heel.
No, it's very complicated. Let's just... No, it wouldn't work. Natural Opinion. I like that YouTube name. Have the WWE made Orton just a typical heel? And do you think they should book him a lot stronger? Well, if you're going to book him against Big Show, you're going to have to book Big Show quite strong because you believe Big Show would probably beat up Randy Orton more often than Randy Orton would beat up Big Show. But then again, Orton has always had the numbers game, so maybe as on his own heel, maybe they could book him a little bit stronger, but it's not too... I think it's all right now.
I say Orton being at the top of his heel game has come and gone. I think he's had the legend killer, the punting stuff, going up to the McMahons. He's been at the top of the heel game. I think to put him back up there as the strongest heel, he's not going to quite make it to where he used to be, but right now they're going to do their best. And rumours have said they've got his plan up to Mania.
Howard Starr. Where is Ezekiel Jackson? Will he come back to television? I don't have a clue. Where is Ezekiel Jackson?
Last time I saw him, he was at McDonald's.
Was he serving you?
He was.
Oh, all right. At least he's doing well for himself. Thunder Night 19. Should WWE have continued on with the Kane versus Pete Rose WrestleMania angle? And if so, how long should they have kept to go? Every year. That shit was funny.
I'd say, for me to take Kane seriously, instead of the Joker character he's always going to get in the face of Rose, I think they had to move away from it, but it was good to have it surprisingly back then.
It was entertaining. Go to the Xbox Pro. Do you share my opinion with the whole ECW, WCW invasion in the early 2000s? Do you think Vince enjoyed destroying their characters, having them almost always lose to his guys, or do you think Vince wanted it to work? Do you know what? I don't think Vince wanted it to work at all. Otherwise, he would have allowed the contracts to run out from the Time Warner AOL merger and bring in guys like Flair, Hogan, Hall, Nash, Goldberg, which he eventually brought in anyway. So, to be honest, I think secretly Vince McMahon did it at that time so that he probably could bury it once and for all. I mean, you've got to admit, this is a man with a massive ego that's just pretty much bought out the two competing companies that he used to have and were beating him at one point for 80-odd straight weeks.
I'd say for a business mind, Vince could have made quite a bit of money from this, but he completely went down an angle. They hoped that Austin would save it in some aspect, but he didn't really. So I'd say Vince made a big mistake, even if he did enjoy it.
I say that this is a win for Vince McMahon's ego over his business brain, which very rarely happens with Vince McMahon. I can guarantee you that. Evan Gray, do you think a move back to the six-sided ring would be good for TNA? I mean, I think it would because it would differentiate TNA from WWE. I know you're not a massive fan of the six-sided ring.
Please, one-off pay-per-views that I don't think is really entertaining, use them then. But for the full shows and the quick setup for each show, and because I don't think a six-sided ring is going to change the future of TNA, so I think use it for a one-off special show.
I think if they kept it, it would have helped with TNA's identity, but they bringing it back won't exactly like get them better ratings, but it would differentiate them a little bit from WWE, which could be a good thing. What are your opinions on TNA going back to Orlando? I don't necessarily like it. I like the fact that we're going on the road. I like the fact that they were live on some of their shows, but the problem is now with cost-cutting measures, it's less money to tape 4 shows in a row at Orlando on one day rather than going out live and also going on the road. So, I mean, for business reasons, it's a good thing if you consider their financial troubles, but even as a fan, it might be a bit harder to watch because, again, like I said, it's the difference between the bigger company and the smaller company. You look at WWE and then you compare it to TNA and you can tell which one's more big league than the other.
That is true. Obviously, copying some stuff to help the business grow would have worked, but going on the road, it was good to try and get more fans in, but it didn't really do much.
No, it really didn't. I think that's due to the lack of marketing, personally. But there you go. Do you like TNA's world title direction with one champion being crowned through a new tournament with AJ defending the belt in Japan and Mexico, ultimately culminating in an undisputed world title match? Yes. I mean, it's a very good direction. I think that's a good idea of TNA doing something right that WWE didn't do very well, returning CM Punk 8 days later.
TNA was doing a great way of trying to not copy WWE, because we went through a whole stage of different copyings, and now they're trying to bring it back for this purpose. AJ being Mr. TNA, going out there to perform is great. He's getting TNA's name in other countries. Coming back to pretty much do the same thing to ultimately get one champion. Bit like WWE, but it's good that he's fighting out there.
I think it's got to the point now in wrestling where everything's been done and everything's going to be copied at some point. I mean, for the time, it suited the AJ Styles character, so I'm all for it. Thunder Night 19. If WWE were to unify the WWE and World Heavyweight Championships at WrestleMania 30, how would it affect the Royal Rumble winner? That's very interesting.
I think it make it better because we do like the whole probably unsurety of which championship.
Yeah.
I think if there was one champion, you know the match you're going to get. You can look forward to the build instead of having, because pretty much when they win the Rumble now,
heavyweight,
it's no different. No real difference.
I think the Royal Rumble winner, right now, the Royal Rumble winner is always underseeded by like The Rock and Cena or everything like that. But I mean, if they unified, I think maybe this question is specifying more along the lines of if they were to unify the championship at WrestleMania 30, how would it affect the Rumble winner in 2014? As in, how would the Royal Rumble winner go about? Maybe they'll have Cena drop the belt and have Cena win it and do it that way. Who really knows? But it would affect the Rumble winner at that year, but then for years onwards wouldn't. So maybe it's like taking a little hit there to take more of a longer term.
Unless, I think they did it one year. The Rumble is for the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, even though it's the Chamber now.
They had Vince McMahon win the Rumble and go against Austin. They also had Ray win the Rumble and lose his shot to Orton and then
so they do it again.
Didn't Cena do it once, where he cashed in his Royal Rumble thing on No Way Out or something? I don't know.
Can't remember, but I think that's the only way they could probably save it, but we'll see.
Toby Pierce, when do you think the Shield will break up and go their own way? And when they do, who will be the biggest star out of them? All in caps, by the way.
My two answers in previous beforehand was the Survivor Series, where unless they don't, I'm not sure what the Survivor Series matches from this point, even though this is weeks afterwards.
After the Survivor Series,
but I think it'll be at Survivor Series or the Rumble, where one wrestler's ready to go forward, which the WWE seems like Ambrose, but I think Reigns is a good choice.
Reigns will be the choice that WWE will take because he has pretty much everything that WWE want in a main event guy. He's got the size, he's got the look, he's got some sort of charisma which they could probably get out of him. So, that's probably the guy that's going to be the biggest star, even though I think Ambrose could definitely be a very, very close second for WWE. As for how they'll break up, there'll be differences in the camp and they'll turn Reigns babyface. That's what I think they'll do. The $2.99, should Bray Wyatt add more wrestlers to the Wyatt family like Undertaker did with the Ministry? I think 3 is enough for now. You can have a tag team there and Bray Wyatt as the manager kind of thing.
I think, to be honest, with some factions, adding more could damage it. With the Wyatt family, you expect it with those 3. If they wanted to add another one in, it would have been Kane. So I think avoiding that was pretty much the best thing they could have done for the Wyatt family.
Last couple of questions. Liberty Bell, what do you think of the worst gimmicks and storylines currently in WWE and TNA? Aces and Eights in TNA, even though it's probably ended by this Q&A, but that's definitely the worst storyline in TNA. As for WWE, people might not like Big Show Orton, and I can kind of understand why.
Well, gimmick is like Fandango, the Funkasaurus, those dancers, all that push up to one side. Storylines in TNA, yeah, it's obviously the Ace and Eights continuing. WWE, I'd say it's going to be Total Divas versus Divas.
Maybe. Do you think the fans get screwed by Lesnar only having so many appearances in the WWE? You could add take to that question too if you want to. Not necessarily, because it makes him more of a special attraction. But I can understand why fans might be a little bit pissed off, because you've got all this great stuff with Lesnar going on, and then when he goes out and it's kind of sucky again. But it makes him feel more like a special attraction, like Taker.
I've always had a problem with Lesnar, because to be honest, especially now, they're trying their hardest to think of creative ideas to keep the CM Punk and Heyman feud going, ready for Lesnar, who's still assigned with Paul Heyman. And before that, I think him disappearing every time, it just takes away a top wrestler who is meant to be there to help the company. As for Taker, it was good to see him at non-WrestleMania at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. So for him to make a disappearance, I'd say it's sad, even though he is Mr. WrestleMania now.
And he was supposed to be involved with SummerSlam with the Shield of the Wyatt family as well. That would have been epic. It would have been. But that's been it from another Q&A. If you have any questions you want to ask us, of course, we're welcome to many questions to be asked to us. You can do that in the comment section below, inboxing, Facebook or Twitter.
And thank you very much for watching, people. We do enjoy this, our best video of the week, where we're together, where we're hopefully entertaining you, but we can only entertain you with your questions, so please keep them coming. Tune into next week, because believe me, we've said this before, the best is yet to come.